Quote from the book on intelligent deal structure. Especially when buying from monopolistic suppliers, careful drafting of contracts is of paramount importance. Skillfully designed contracts that suit the specific demand structure of the company can be a competitive factor of considerable importance. When I introduce the purchasing chessboard to beginners, I typically start with the 4 quadrants. For explaining the top left quadrant, my favorite example is: imagine a big car maker buying platinum for catalysts. No matter how big the platinum demand, there's nobody to negotiate with. The price is determined on the London Metal Exchange. While this statement is a bit exaggerated and you can negotiate surcharges and premiums, it illustrates the point of why you need intelligent deal structures for raw materials. Especially in times like these, where there are big shifts in demand, for example in the automotive industry, with its transition from internal combustion engines to electric motors, and with a super volatile geopolitical environment. In this video, we will focus on raw materials and we will zoom in on Tesla for inspiration. Let's get started. Buying raw materials is fundamentally about understanding the equilibrium between supply and demand. Someone has to dig or pump the raw material out of the ground, and someone has to buy the raw materials. If demand is low, investments in new mines and wells will stagnate and maintenance work will be delayed. If demand surges, investment in new projects will increase. The problem is that an upswing in demand can be much faster than an increase in supply. When suddenly all car makers decide to go electric, miners may not be able to add capacity quickly enough. Mining projects are complicated. There are tons of licensing, infrastructure, environmental, political, social, financial and operational issues to consider. I still remember talking to Vale executives in Rio de Janeiro a couple of years ago about their projects in Southern Africa, where they built towns, highways, power plants, a railway to the coast and a port. And even with the best planning, region-specific risks may still stall a project. So not all projects will go online at the projected date, but then, almost as if to make matters more complicated, not all projects are visible. Some of these so-called shadow projects are not reported by analysts and may add incremental volume to the available supply. In order to really get a good grip on the raw material demand, you need to build a comprehensive picture of the market. And if recent events have taught us anything, it is that we cannot look at data like the supply made available by mines in isolation. We will need to look at the bigger picture, and that will encompass considering the impact that the raw material will have on climate change. So which of the mines available have the least impact and fit best to our strategy? We will need to look at technology transition and should not be caught flat-footed by big trends that we fail to recognize. More on that later when we talk about Tesla. Well, and then there is geopolitics. Just muddling through doesn't cut it anymore. With what is going on in the world right now, a long list of potential suppliers simply has become unacceptable, and this is especially true in the area of raw materials. Let's now talk about Tesla. I have to admit that I am pretty impressed by them at many levels. They appear to have a super clear view on what matters and what doesn't. For them, offering many different models with many different trim levels obviously doesn't matter anymore. But with this curbed product complexity, they have a clear outlook on where their business will move. As they plan for gigafactories and terafactories all over the world, they secure access to raw materials. Let's just look at what they have done since the start of the pandemic. In June 2020, they secured a cobalt supply agreement with Glencore in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In September 2020, they acquired 10,000 acres for lithium mining in Nevada and secured a supply agreement again for lithium from Piedmont. In January 2021, they entered into a 6-year supply deal for nickel with Tamarack Mines in Minnesota. In February 2021, they started investing in developing a nickel mine in Indonesia. In March 2021, they struck a partnership with a nickel mine in New Caledonia. This is a French island in the Pacific. In July 2021, they secured another supply agreement for nickel with BHP, the world's largest nickel miner. In November 2021, they entered a 3-year supply contract with Ganfeng, China's largest lithium supplier. In February 2022, they closed a 5-year supply contract for lithium with Liontown, a lithium miner in Australia. And in March 2022, they signed a term sheet with Australia's Core Lithium Limited to supply lithium. And these are just a selection of deals Tesla has struck to secure the supply and pricing of raw materials. So they're clearly not leaving anything up to chance. So there you have it, B6 Intelligent Deal Structure, a purchasing chessboard method that favors those who prepare for the future. Okay, I'm curious. To what extent do you think is your company prepared for changes in raw material availability and pricing? Let all of us know in the comments down below, and should you have a question, I will get back to you within 24 hours. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye.